Okay, number 36, all the parts of this one. I had a good question, a couple questions on this one. Not just one, about 2 or 3 questions on number 36. Let's look at it. Let's find the things that we need to find first. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different things that we've got to look for within these problems and how to find them. I've got to change hands here. All right, first things first, the axis of symmetry. The value of x is negative b over 2a. This is a, this is b, this is, C. So if I've got to fill this in, x is equal to a negative 6 over 2 times negative 3. Okay, so if you work this out, the negative just sort of hangs out up front, just waiting. Okay, negative 6 and 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 divided by negative 6 is equal to a positive 1. But then that negative sign comes over. So it tells you the axis of symmetry is a negative 1. So x equals negative 1. Okay, that's the axis of symmetry. So if you look at the graph, it's going to be at negative 1 right there. Now, the vertex. How do I find the vertex? Well, I just told you what x is. X is negative 1. We have to find y, okay? How do I find y? Substitute the negative 1 in for all the x's in the problem. So it turns into negative 3 times the quantity of negative 1 squared, which is just 1. And then it's negative 6 times the quantity of negative 1 plus 7. Negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Okay, this is going to be sloppy, but I'm following it. Okay. Negative 6 times negative 1 is a positive 6. And then the last part of it is plus 7. Okay, making sense. Negative 3 and 6 make 3. 3 plus 7 is 10. So our y value, y is equal to, if x is negative 1, y is 10. So our vertex for our graph is negative 1, positive 10. So weigh the crap up here, okay? Like that, way up here. Well, being that I look at up here, I know that my graph is a negative value, negative a. That means it's going to open down. I know that just by looking at our original equation. I know it's going to open down. So I know, well, I don't want to get there yet. Jiminy Christmas. Go in order. Y-intercept. Now you're going to be, I'll go back to this. Y-intercept. What is the y-intercept? It's the C value in your equation. So your y-intercept is positive 7. Okay, or if you think about it, it's 0, 7. So right or left 0 up to 7, right there. Now, balance the scale. It'll go over there, and your graph should look like that. Okay, it should. I'm just sort of generalizing the other parts of this. But once I know that this is the axis of symmetry, this is my vertex, and this is my y-intercept, I can just sort of, it's one jump to here, it's one jump to there, because it balances. It's a parabolic curve, okay? Is this a maximum or a minimum? Well, it's got to be a maximum because that's our top point. That's our maximum. It only can go so high. The minimum is forever. It goes on and on and on. So there is no minimum. It just keeps going. The domain, like always, infinite. They're just all real numbers, period. Any real number can be placed in for x. It doesn't matter. I can choose any value of x. I can go in here. Positive, negative, anything can be placed in here. The one that's got the limit is the range. Why does the range have the limit? Because it only goes this high. It only goes to 10 on the y-axis. So it's all numbers less than or equal to a positive 10. Okay? All numbers less than or equal to positive 10 will be a y value. I can choose anything I want to go in for x. Remember, domain is just x, range is y. This is telling you what can you put in for x, what can you have for y, what can you get for an answer for y. I can put anything in for x. I can put anything. That's why the variable is here. I can put anything. But y will only be positive 10 or less. Why do I know it's going to be positive 10 or less? Because the graph only goes up to 10. So it's going to be all numbers less than 10, including 10. Okay? Now, like I was starting to say earlier before I stopped myself, there's going to be some of this. You don't need to go in this order through these problems. You don't need to. Okay? I just do them in order just to get you in a way of doing these problems. You could look at this and go, oh, I know the y-intercept immediately. Oh, I know if it's going to be a maximum or minimum because my number, my a value is positive or negative. It tells me right there. Oh, I know what the domain is because the domain is pretty much going to be the same for all of these. It's anything. Anything I want to put in for x, I can put in for x. The ones you have to do the work for are the axis of symmetry, the vertex, and the range. You can't do the range until you find out what the axis of symmetry is. You can find out the y-intercept because it's given to you. You can find out if it's max or min because it's given to you. You know the domain because you just know it. So bit, bop, boop, you can just do. The axis of symmetry, the vertex, and the range are the ones where you have to put a little bit of work in. And it's really not that even tough of work. It's not that tough of work to be able to find out some of these. So if you have any other questions, this is number 36 in your work. Now, some people ask questions like, can the domain or can the value be infinite negative? Think about it. The domain is going to be just infinite. You can choose any value for x to be putting into this problem. Anything can be placed in there. I could put 1 billion in there. Why you want to put 1 billion in there or negative 1 billion, it's up to you, but it's a waste of time if you wanted to. It's the y that has the limit of 10 on the graph. That's your maximum value. That's why it's a max or min that you're looking at. You're looking at where your range is going to be allowed to stop and go from there. Okay? Any other questions? I'll be posting some video on our next stuff that we're doing a little later on today. I'll give you the weekend to work on a couple things that I'm going to give you. I love this stuff. I truly do. I want to work on this some more. I want to make this so that's second nature for you. If you have any questions, send it to me. Now, if you didn't notice, I kept on saying 34 through 39, 34 through 39. But then when I wrote it in as 34 through 40. It's 34 through 39, folks. It's just 6 problems, 34 through 39. And I think I went in and fixed it and changed it. So the people that ask me the question, I can say, oh, I never had it like that. It was 34 through 39 the whole time. Sorry, whatever. I miss you guys. I will talk to you later. See ya. Bye.